I remember when I lost my mind. There was something so pleasant about that place. Even your emotions have an echo in so much space. And when you're out there without care, yeah, I was out of touch. But it wasn't because I didn't know enough. I just knew too much. Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? Possibly. And I hope that you are having the time of your life. But think twice. That's my only advice.
Did you know that the transnational global mega companies that are creating the vaccine for COVID also created the drugs that led to an opioid epidemic, killing as many people in America as have died as a result of coronavirus?
Come on now, who do you think you are? Bless your soul. You really think you're in control? Well, I think you're crazy. I think you're crazy. I think you're crazy. Just like me. My heroes had the heart to lose.
People have already published it again and again. And what it shows is the same number of people have died this year, 2020, has died in 2019, 2018, 2017, 2016, and 2015. 2.8 million people. It's within 10 to 15,000 people every year. The same number of old people died in 2020. The only difference is when they looked by disease. Heart disease, for the first time in 30 years, has come down. Cancer has come down. But COVID has gone up in the exact proportions. Now that's interesting, isn't it? Same number of people died. By the way, in case you haven't noticed, the flu has disappeared. It's flatlined. What are the symptoms of the flu? And by the way, flu kills people, and especially kills older people. So we're living in a world where a lot of people might be overreacting because they're trying to protect us because they thought at a 3% mortality rate or 4%, that would be a pandemic. But today, depending on whose research you read, it's 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, which is the same as the flu. And if you're under 50, it's way below that. So we live in a world that if we let people control our focus, we're just going to live in fear and do nothing. And we're going to be people that manage our circumstances. But I don't believe you were created, I was created. I don't think the universe or God, whatever you believe, created us to just manage shit. I believe we're here to create things. Who's with me? Here to create love and joy and relationship and business and life? Say I.
And all I remember is thinking, I want to be like them. Ever since I was little, it looked like fun. If there's no coincidence, I've come.
A new study indicates that the opioid crisis in the US is deepening, with overdoses 29% higher than before the pandemic. According to the latest research based on 190 million emergency department visits, the opioid epidemic is growing in strength and taking advantage of a society now more susceptible to addiction than ever.
The American Medical Association says at least 30 states have reported overdose deaths rising in 2020.
Johnson & Johnson did not cause the opioid abuse crisis here in Oklahoma or anywhere in this country.
In the interests of balance, let's see what Johnson & Johnson say for themselves in the form of their advert, just in case I'm being unfair and biased.
When you're the oldest baby company in the world,
That's a weird image, isn't it? I don't like to think of an old baby, some little Benjamin bag. Hey, can I get a little bit of that old titty milk, Mama? No, they'll have this powdered milk. Makes more economic sense.
You learned something important. Babies grow up.
Not necessarily. Not if you give them enough OxyContin.
They fall down. They have fevers. They break bones.
I hate this advert. This kid's having a hell of a time, isn't it? Sit still.
Some develop acne, allergies, and nearsightedness.
Look, what you seem to be saying, Johnson & Johnson, and I get it, is you're fucked. You need Johnson & Johnson. You're going to have a fever. You're going to tumble out of a tree. You're spotty as all hell. Johnson & Johnson's your answer.
They need to be stitched up.
Oh, we're being stitched up, all right.
They have ups and downs and babies of their own.
I think one of the things I most object to when it comes to the old corporate world is their willingness to mobilise beautiful, poetic, romantic, dramatic ideas in order that they may sell. All of these ideas in this advert community, caring about children, the troubles and difficulties of puberty and adolescence, these are all real things. But continually they're trying to direct the flow of your attention and the flow of your money towards Johnson & Johnson as a solution. I mean, I suppose what it is it's insulting, isn't it? It's insulting they're doing that after their role in the opioid crisis. In fact, the only reason they need to make that advert is to wash away the redolence of all of our shared memories of the irresponsible way that they have promoted dangerous drugs to vulnerable people in order to make money. And this ain't what I'm saying. This is the result of court findings. These are the result of convictions. These are results of payouts that they've had to make. And again, you know, Johnson & Johnson, the people that made these adverts, the people that are working in accounts, even the people, the CEOs and the people involved, all human beings like you, like me, born, live, gonna die. The systems themselves are what need to change. I suppose speaking as a drug addict, I know how I behave. I just take drugs, I just do stuff. I need alternative principles, alternative ideas to intervene with my appetites and tendencies around drugs, or I'll take drugs in an irresponsible way. Johnson & Johnson are like a drug addict living in a world where drugs are freely available and no one's mentioning that your drug addiction has consequences for yourself and others.
Sometimes they go to dark places and need help getting back.
It acts as if it's Johnson & Johnson and Jesus.
Help you back from strokes. And make every chapter of your life the best it can be.
We don't mind. You can be gay, you can be old, you can be any colour you want to be. Johnson & Johnson, we will push OxyContin or some other highly charged opiate on you if we think there's a penny in it.
And from the day you're born, we never stop taking care of you.
And by care, we mean advantage.
And I can die when I'm done. But maybe I'm crazy. Maybe you're crazy. Maybe we're crazy.
According to the American Cancer Society, talc, a mineral known for its softness, can contain asbestos, a substance known to cause cancer. While Johnson & Johnson has long touted the safety of its talc-based products, the company has faced thousands of lawsuits from customers linking them to cancer. Among them, 63-year-old Dean Berg, the first to take on Johnson & Johnson in trial, alleging its talc-based baby powders led her to stage 3 ovarian cancer.
I am 100% certain that it caused my cancer.
In 2013, a federal jury in South Dakota sided with Berg and found Johnson & Johnson negligent but did not award her any damages. In 2018, Reuters published a report saying that from at least 1971 to the early 2000s, the company's raw talc and finished powders sometimes tested positive for small amounts of asbestos. information Johnson & Johnson reportedly failed to disclose to the public. The company denied the report's allegations, but months later revealed it was at the center of several federal investigations over whether its talcum powders were linked to cancer-causing asbestos. In October, the company voluntarily recalled 33,000 bottles of baby powder in the U.S. after the FDA found trace amount of asbestos in samples from a bottle purchased online.
Across the world, vaginal mesh is a subject of huge litigation in the US and Australia. Here in the UK, class action is being brought by 300 women against one manufacturer of mesh, Johnson & Johnson. Lawyers say it could become the biggest medical case in UK history.
Probably the most significant in terms of the number of people involved that I can think of. With the exception possibly of thalidomide, going back a long time. And in terms of the total potential compensation payments, well, that could run into billions of pounds, which would make it one of the largest medical cases in history.
This is the UK headquarters of Johnson & Johnson. In the 2 years that I've been covering the story of mesh implants, Johnson & Johnson have refused to discuss it with me on camera. Instead, they've sent me another written statement. And in it, they say that their subsidiary company, Ethicon, is confident in the positive impact of their mesh products on the vast majority of women. And in regards to the legal challenge, Ethicon says that the evidence will show that the company acted responsibly. This comes as we've learned that 55,000 women across the world are suing Johnson & Johnson because of their mesh products.
A record jury verdict, $57 million, was awarded to a Pennsylvania woman injured by a product that thousands of women have.
She's speaking out for the first time only to CBS 3, and health reporter Stephanie Stahl has the exclusive report.
It was a very happy day, but I was still sad and depressed.
51-year-old Ella Ebaugh was in too much pain to enjoy her daughter Jamie's wedding.
And I know it makes her upset, but I mean, I still love her. She's still a wonderful mother.
I'm in excruciating pain. When I'm standing, it hurts. When I'm sitting, it hurts.
She'd been active on a softball team, busy with her family, and like millions of women, Ella suffered with stress urinary incontinence.
I had 5 children, and that's what weakened my pelvic floor muscles.
For women like Ella who need surgery, pelvic mesh is often used to reinforce tissue around the urethra.
My urethra is mangled, and I will suffer for the rest of my life.
The mesh used in Ella's surgery was made by Johnson & Johnson's Ethicon unit. It eroded into Ella's urethra. 3 revision surgeries later, some of the mesh remains embedded.
I feel like I'm on fire, down there.
Ella is among an estimated hundreds of thousands of women who have the mesh made by Ethicon. Thousands of lawsuits have been filed nationwide.
It's really horrific what they're doing to women.
Put trust and faith in our government to fulfill its most important function, which is protecting the American people. No function more important. In coming weeks, we will issue further guidance on what you can and cannot do once fully vaccinated to lessen the confusion, to keep people safe, and encourage more people to get vaccinated. I will not relent until we beat this virus. But I need you, the American people. I need you. I need every American to do their part. And that's not hyperbole. I need you. I need you to get vaccinated when it's your turn and when you can find an opportunity. If we do all this, if we do our part, if we do this together, by July the 4th, there's a good chance you, your families and friends will be able to get together in your backyard or in your neighborhood and have a cookout or a barbecue and celebrate Independence Day. This fight is far from over. As I told the woman in Pennsylvania, I'll tell you the truth. July 4th with your loved ones is the goal. Conditions can change. The scientists have made clear that things may get worse again as new variants of the virus spread. We need everyone to get vaccinated. We need everyone to keep washing their hands, stay socially distanced, and keep wearing the mask as recommended by the CDC. Because if we don't stay vigilant and the conditions change, then we may have to reinstate restrictions to get back on track. And please, we don't want to do that again. Thank you for taking the time to listen. I look forward to seeing you.